Welcome you all to our fifth annual knowledge exchange. And I think that we have learned a lot over the years. One of the objectives we have today is to present some of what we have learned over the years. My name is Zahra Ahmed Koshing, and I'm one of the founders of the Somali Hub. And I would like to welcome you all to our fifth annual conference. And I'm going to try to speak English first, and then later on, I'll try and summarize into Somali. Marka af Ingiriis baan ku hadli doonaa, kabacdina af Somali baan ku hadli doonaa, anoo soo koobaya. Okay, Mia? Yeah? Okay, waa mahadsantihiin. So, the Quran that was read earlier, some of you might not be aware, but it has a very important place in our culture and religion, and it's just to bless the day, to bless our meeting. That was the purpose of that Quran. For those of you who don't know much about Somali culture, today you will learn a lot about Somali culture, whether it is the language, the food, the dressing, but also a surprise we have later on today that will demonstrate the significance of Somali culture, how it in material form. I would like to thank our partners, Mawazo Institute. We have Chiama here and Caroline on the way. They have been our partner for many years, and they have supported us over the years. A very important contributor to our growth over the years. But we also welcome a new partner through Mawazo, Riza, and we have Cecil Kangara here who will speak later on. Thank you both. I would like to welcome our minister, former minister, Abdenour Sheikh Mohammed, who is not only a former minister, but also the current chair of the Higher Education Commission of the Federal Government of Somalia. We also have a former minister here with us from Puntland, Minister Amina, Ministry of Women and Family Development. To all our speakers who have come from all over the country, but also from Somalia, we welcome you. We also welcome our visitors who have joined us today for the first time. May it not be the last. A very warm welcome to our visitors online, or our participants, let me say. I don't know if you can hear or see me, but it's very important that you are equally present with us, people joining us online. In fact, some of our speakers today will be joining us virtually. I want to say a few things about the Somali Hub, and also about why this organization was set up and the purpose of our meeting today. In 2015, there was a very important discussion that happened on Twitter. So a German male scholar wrote something on Twitter, which was one of the reasons why we founded actually the Somali Hub. I hope, Koster, you are taking note of what I'm saying and will be able to translate later on together with me in case I forget some things. But I just want to highlight the importance of women's contributions to research and academia, why that is important. So in 2015, we had a man called Marcus Hune, and this guy on Twitter, first of all, he was one of the founders of the Somali Studies Journal. Okay, so there was a post on Twitter that said, we are launching the establishment of the Somali Studies Journal, and they were all male figures, most of them foreign, very few, or actually there was only one Somali person. And Sophia Aidid from Harvard University, who is currently an associate professor at Harvard, saw this post announcing the launching of this Somali Studies journal. And she was like, why are there very few Somalis, and why are there no women? So this German scholar, Marcus, he responds by saying, oh, come on, we all know that Somalis cannot sit for 8 hours a day and write. We know that Somalis are very biased, and they cannot be neutral, very tribal thinking. They can't produce serious scholarship. That post is still there on Twitter, 2015, August. And then some people responded, including Sophia Aidid, because he was responding to her question. And he said, Somalis have no place in academia and scholarship because it is just, there aren't any Somali scholars of value. And even if they are there, they can't seriously produce serious neutral work. And this ignited the hashtag Adan Studies. I don't know how many of you know this, but if you are a Somali scholar, you should know about this history. And so there was a very long debate, and suddenly we had a number of Somalis who came together and said, you know, we can't keep quiet about this. Okay, and there was a, what do you call this, an online sort of petition against this, and suddenly we had close to 900 Somali scholars from all over the world, Latin America, Europe, Australia, all over Africa, who said, hey, I'm a scholar and I'm here. So one of the things this guy sort of highlighted was that his thinking was that along the lines of, it is Somali men who are researchers, who produce knowledge. And so he actually mentioned that. And we were like, hey, but you know, there are also women scholars, women producers of knowledge and researchers. But what his argument was based on the notion that it is men who fight, it is men who produce knowledge, and those men are not around. And we came together as female scholars in Puntland, and we decided to set up the Gender Hub. It started very small, very, very small circle of 5 Somali women. We came together advising each other, mentoring each other, inspiring each other to see how we can contribute to knowledge production in and on Somali regions. It's very important that we hear from Somali women, that we have Somali women's voices in academia, and to take part in the documentation of the history of Somalia. And that's why we organize training sessions. We organize this annual event. And we also have mentorship sessions where we match a student to a well-established female scholar, oftentimes in the diaspora, oftentimes out of the country, unfortunately. We have something we call a community of practice, so what we aim to have a community of practice, but we have currently a platform where women can join, talk to each other, find inspiration, find resources to help them grow, to help them find their way in academia and in higher education, especially in publishing. There are very few Somali women who publish, and even if they do publish, we don't cite one another that much. So we also encourage each other to cite each other's work. So what I just demonstrated, you know, is one of the objectives we have to decolonize knowledge in academia by bringing forth Somali women and their contribution, making it visible, making it accessible. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us 12 Somali scholars who will produce their research. You are the audience who will listen to them. We have facilitated this session. We provided this platform, and we are giving them an audience to listen to, but also we go forth a step ahead by helping them finalize their papers and hopefully peer review and then publish in well-established journals. I'm sorry I took long to explain this, but this is the background we're coming from. Today, we have over 400 members in our community. We have supported over 100 women with either selecting of, a study of a theme that they can focus on for their research, mentoring, linking them up with somebody else, finding scholarships for them. Just basic things like even providing information about a certain discipline or discourse or university. Sometimes just even helping them with their research work. Because even that is a problem for many Somali women. Actually, to answer the question, what are the main challenges Somali women face in higher education? We have a paper dedicated to that. Hawa Mohammed Diri's paper talks about that. Women in STEM, very few Somali women in STEM. Amina's paper talks about why there are very few women in STEM in Somalia. Dr. Mohammed Goure's paper talks about Somali women institutions of leadership, professors, associate professors, lecturers. What kind of problems are they facing once they are, in this sort of job of teaching? Because we know from research, which we conduct regularly, among others through this conference, that once a woman finds a job, a teaching job in the university, it doesn't last long. Soon she will leave. Very soon she will leave. So many different problems. And I'm talking about the context of Somalia, of course. I know I'm taking too long. I hope Kausar will capture what I'm saying and will be able to translate into Somali, hopefully. haddaan soo koobo hadalkayga waxaan ka sheekeeyey waxaan ka hadlay sababta aan u sameynay ururkan Gender Hub waxaana ka hadlay inuu jiro nin cadaan ah oo German ah oo hadda ka hor ku soo qoray Twitterka social mediaha in ay daahfurayaan barnaamij oo lagu soo saarayo joornaalo oo ka hadlaya taariikhda Soomaalida iyo wax qorka Soomaalida marka qof baa wuxuu yiri maxaa dhacay ajnabi meesha u joogan kaliya hal nin oo Soomaaliya ku jiray daafurkaas Hargeysa ka dhacday arintan markaas wuxuu jawaab wuxuu yiri Soomaalida ma iga wax qori kara Soomaalida ma iga wax inta fadhistaan saacado badan wax soo saari kara awooda ma lahan dagaal bay ku mashquulsan yihiin qabiil iyo qabyaalad bay ku mashquulsan yihiin mana noqon karaan dad wax la weydiin karo oo ayagoo neutral ah يعني markasta walaalkiis ama qofka qabiilkiisa xiga buu u eexanayaa oo si cadaalad oo daacad ah marnaba kulama leh wax kugu sheegayo buu yiri qofka Soomaaliga ah ma garateen markaas waxaan yiri haduu asaga ninkaas taas yiri aawo Soomaalidii markaas 900 oo qof oo Soomaaliya soo baxday oo waxay qoreen petition bay qoreen waxay dhaheen ninkaas waa inaan maxkamad la tagnaa 900 oo waxa soo baxday hal mar professors iyo PhD holders oo Soomaali ah oo adduunka dhan jooga oo ninkaas la dagaalay raaligelid buu ka bixiyay marka dambe actually he apologized and this Marcus guy he apologized and he was astonished when he found over 900 Somali scholars and this professor at Harvard University this hashtag if you go right now to Twitter and search for the hashtag Adan Studies, and I will spell Adan, CADAAN Studies, you will be shocked what you will find. Because there are people who agree with him. That in Africa, we have a long way to go to come to the level of what these people are talking about, in their opinion. Marka walaalayaal, halkaas ka nimid, maanta waxaan ku faanaynaa inaan markii shanaad shirkaan qabanayno oon ugu talagalnay kaliya kaalinta haweenka Soomaaliyeed marka laga hadlayo cilmi baaris marka laga hadlayo wax qoris marka laga hadlayo in wax laga qoro taariikhda Soomaaliya wax yar baa laga fahansan yahay sida haweenku isku u wada shaqeeyaan isu caawiyaan waxa ka dhex guuxaya waxay aragtidooda tahay waxay ku soo kordhin karaan bulshada wax badan bay ku soo kordhin karaan haddaan nahay Soomaali jaamacad baan tagnaa bachelor baan qaadanaa bas halkaas ku eg tahay master ma tagno PhD ma tagno professor ma noqono maxaa jaamacad ka aadaysay intaas oo sano haddii aad taariikh wax ka qoraynin oo cilmiga iyo aqoonta aad soo baratay wax ka qoraynin. waxaan ku faraxsanahay wasiirkeena Cabdinuur dhawaan buu buug qoray oo ku daahfuray xataa Nairobi iyo meelo badan oo kale. wasiir buugaas inaa soo qaada u maleynaya maanta inaa aragna waa jeclaan lahayn. I was just saying that our minister here, he's a scholar, he's a writer, and he recently published a book. And he published the book and launched it in Nairobi and many other places. This is the book. I hope the women here are inspired by this. And we also have Sadia. Sadia is a Somali female poet, creative artist, and we will hear from her later on today with her poetry. She also has a book with her. But I want to highlight this because not only academia we promote, we also promote creative writing, storytelling, through arts, through stories. It's very important for Somali women to express themselves, not only through academia. Okay, very important. And we provide these sessions. We have an inbuilt Moodle, MOOC system where we can train people online up to 100. And I'm very thankful to INASP and Author Aid. Over the years, they've supported us put together this system where women can safely join, create a profile, and link with other women online. I want to end here, and I would like to call upon a very important person who has supported us the past several years, actually even through the pandemic, Father Ali Saman, who really, but before I do Father Ali Saman, who is also part of our team, I would like to call upon if Caroline has she come? No? Okay, I would like to move on to, let me take the opportunity to do this. I know it's your job. But just to call upon Cecile Kangara, country technical lead, Kenya, Rwanda for RISA Fund. I think it's RISA or RISA. You will tell us, Cecile. He will, waxaan u yeerayaa hadda partnerkeena naga caawi barnaamijkan oo waxaan u yeerayaa Cecile Kangara oo ah madaxa RISA Fund wax la yiraahdo asaga noo sheegi doona waxay tahay. He will tell us what the RISA Fund is and he will speak in English and Kausar will translate. Welcome, Cecile.
Here to support you and the good work that you're doing. RISA Fund stands for Research Innovation Systems for Africa. So we support any research or innovation activities in different countries. We're in 6 countries in Africa, and Kenya is one of them. So I lead Kenya and Rwanda. We work with Mawazo, so we fund Mawazo, and Mawazo. So an example, they funded Sarah. Sarah is was in Mawazo in 2021. She's an alumni of that and a policy fellow. So when she invited us here, and I think some of the funding that we're doing through Mawazo helps her organize such events. So we're happy to be here and to see the good work that you guys are doing, and to encourage you to continue doing it. I like the story she's given on how the genesis of the Gender Hub was created and the need for women to be amplified, but Somali women to be amplified and to speak out and to be seen and to be heard and to interact with any activity that, for example, in higher education, in policy, in different things that you are seen and you're there. The only thing I encourage is because you guys have made it. You guys are scholars, you guys are researchers, you guys are educationists. Please mentor someone else. Don't do this journey alone. So I know she said there were like 900. I want to hear by the next time maybe there are 10,000 women from Somaliland that are doing this thing. So mentor someone else and teach them and show them the ways, because it's a difficult field to be in, and especially for a woman. So don't leave anyone behind and mentor as many of them as possible. But we're here, we're glad to be here and to support you guys, and we will continue with this partnership and to see you do greater. I know it's the 10th anniversary. We want it to get to 20th anniversary and 30th anniversary, and to get to also hear the beautiful work that you guys are doing. Thank you. I do.
You did good. That was amazing. Thank you, Cecil. So, and I will translate it to Somali as we proceed, inshallah. So, actually, Cecil wuxuu ka socdaa RISA, maxaa waaye research u taagan yihiin, maxaa waaye cilmi baarista, maxay u taagan yihiin dadka oo qofka hadduu maanta jaamicu soo noqdo inuu dadku ku noqdo uu warbaahin ka keeno uu wax ka soo daawaco uu story ma ogtay sheekooyinku way kala duwan yihiin maanta aad sheekayaysaa qofka laakiin fikradaas kuma jiro soo fikradooyinka cusub qofka soo saari rabo aa loo kala qaybinaya marka hay'adoodu waxay sponsor gareynayeen Mawazo Institute ay partner leeyihiin hubka Somali Gender Hub habka iyo Mawazo marka isla shaqeeyaan iyagu funding marka ay kon ay siinayeen waxaan conference kan dhan iyo qaabinteeda dhan iyo marti sharaftan dhan waxa isku keenay maanta through them mujeedin soo marka saas la isku la xiriiray macaamil wanaagsan ay yeesheen maantana idinka xafladan ka qayb galaysiin marka wuxuu ugu muhiim uu soo sheegana maxaa waay inuu ku faraxsan yahay arko maanta intaanu dumar oo ka soo qayb gashay inay cilmigooda kor u qaadaan oo maanta ay ku soo biiraan researchka mise wax baarista marka idinkana maxaan ilga rabaa marka kulligiina maanta meel ay wada taagantihiin biri ka maalin maxaan ilga rabaa dad badan inaa soo saartiin samaha maxaa la dhahay maanta waxaan ku sheegnay 900 qof oo jaamiciyaal oo Soomaalida inay ka tirsan yihiin laakiin maxaa rabnaa idinka iyo dad badan in la isku kordaro oo abadatiin tiradiina ay dheeraato xataa inuu gaarno intaas 100,000 because dadkeena way badan yihiin in dul dhan bulshadan jaamiciyaal dhan 900 ka soo baxdo waynu yarnay soo maxaa laga juhdi badan in soo bixino oo dadkeena ay ka bataan tiradooda oo jaamiciyaal la wada noqdo kiligaana ha noqonin walaashan walaalka qofka ka hooseeyana gacanta soo qabo kulligiina isla wada socdo this is a journey gana waa isla سمعتقين سفر كوالي سلا سفرة so سفر كان كوز حالي سلا قبضة قعنت إن شاء الله and so for the next speaker and ونوسو قالي دون إن شاء الله so I think
Sorry.
yes I forgot my paper
You are human beings.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني وإن سلام يا ولاله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته هباري الصبحي صباح وناكسن good morning صباح الخير we have to be multilingual here runtii I will speak in English but even though the audience is largely Somali. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm grateful to be invited. I can't handle talking and holding a microphone at the same time. You know, that was not a job that I was prepared for, but I will try. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. I'm really excited to see you here come early this morning. When I was told that the program will start at 8 o'clock, I said, no, that cannot be true. Somali conferences start at 11 in the morning. Nobody shows up for 8 o'clock. And when I came to the door, and I said, is anybody here? They said, yeah, the room is full. So kudos to all of you. Congratulations. We need to set a new strategy and a new conviction in participating conferences. I want to thank Zahra Koshin and her team for working so hard to put this conference together. It's the 5th annual conference, I was told. Some were held in Somalia before, but the last 2 were held here. And I'd like to encourage next year to be held in Mogadishu, Somalia, if it's at all possible. And we will invite you to be there, inshallah. I also want to acknowledge a commissioner at the Higher Education Commission, Dr. Nadifa Umar, for her to be here. She's a great asset in our organization, and I'm glad to work with her and a team of 14 other people that are working for higher education in Somalia. You don't give a microphone to a teacher, and you don't give a microphone to a politician, which I am both. And you also don't give a microphone to a sheikh, which I try to be, but I'm not yet there. So all 3 of them are known to hold the microphone and not give up. So if I am over time, please tell me to stop. But I'll start by reflecting on what Muhammad Salah said, the young Muhammad Salah who read the Quran. Oftentimes we read the Quran in Arabic and we just walk over it. But he chose a very particular surah, Surah Al-Furqan, and he chose a very particular paragraphs of Surah Al-Furqan known as the Ibadur Rahman. The Ibadur Rahman. And there are qualities of Ibadur Rahman that some of them he mentioned and others were not mentioned. I'd like all of us to ponder upon those Ibadur Rahman, because if we really follow those, we will be the best society that is on the face of the earth. And for any community that takes those qualities, these are universal qualities of good values to build society. And our society needs more than any other society. So I want to thank Muhammad Salah for really touching our nerves by reminding us of what great qualities are required of a society that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. I was struck a bit by the discussion on Adan studies. I was a former chairman of Somali Studies International Association, and I was the conference chair when it was held in the United States in Ohio. I also participated the one that was held in Helsinki, Finland, where this conversation began. Now, you can take different sides of the issue, but sometimes we Somalis are reactionaries. We react to what others say before we try to find it on our own. So it was great that all these scholars came out of the wonderland to come outside and say we are all scholars, but it took someone to criticize them for them to come out of the woods. And I thank him for starting that conversation. Even though it was negative, it brought out the best out of us. Now I want to challenge you. Do we need someone else to say Somalis don't value their women? And then for 900,000 women to come out? Do we need someone to say Somalis don't value their country? Do we need to say someone to say Somalis do not build their nation? Do we need somebody to say Somalis don't care about each other? We don't need to be reactionaries. We need to act on our own and truly find out what is wrong in us before we react to what others say. We have great scholars. We have great Somali scholars. We have Professor Ahmed Samatar. We have Professor Allah Yarhamah Hussein Tanzania, Saeed Samatar. We have Professor Ali Jim'ali. We have Professor Muhammad Mukhtar, Abdi Kuso, Professor Ali Noor, Professor Abdullah Mansour, Professor, we have many of them. Do we read their books? How many of us read their books? Very few. If you don't value your people, nobody else values them. So we need to value each other. We have great scholars among us. But we look at others as scholars. We don't look ours as great scholars. So I want to really emphasize that if we don't highlight our own people, and there are great women scholars that we have, we will not be able to compete with other people. That was not the topic that I was invited to talk about, but I said a politician, a teacher, a sheikh wannabe. What do you expect? I am in the field of education. I have been in the field of education all my life, and I'm grateful to have been a teacher, a professor, a politician, all working in the field of education. So, alhamdulillah, my aim is to be like the hub here, to try to encourage people to get engaged, get involved, to do well. So we at the Somali National Higher Education Commission, we were recently appointed by presidential decree in Somalia to work on improving the quality of higher education in Somalia. Now, when we say higher education, it's anything above the secondary school. These include universities, colleges, TVET centers, technical vocational education, adult higher education, institutes of higher learning, and so on and so forth. And to establish laws, guidelines for establishing universities and these systems, as well as standards to attain standards in management of the universities, standards in teacher training, standards in content in the curriculum that students are being taught, and so on and so forth. So the aim is to ensure that there is a high quality higher education program in Somalia. And it's a tough job for anyone to do, but we have 15 highly qualified people like Dr. Nadifa who were selected to be on this team, and we have already started the work, and we're collaborating with regional institutions of higher learning, including those in Kenya, Uganda, in the region at large. So our task is to standardize, to establish legal frameworks, to harmonize the education system, harmonize. And one of the challenges we have is that students are not able to transfer from one system to another. If you are in this system, you are stuck there until you graduate. You can't go between universities or between different systems. Quality assurance and research and innovation centers, and trying to work those out. Somalia has recently joined the East African Commission, the East African Community, and part of the East Africa also higher education area, what is known as higher education area. And the aim is to try to harmonize students that graduate from higher education systems in Somalia with those in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and the rest of the members of the East African Commission. And the idea is that certificates from Garowe, Bur'o, Mogadishu, Beledweyne, Kismayo, Baydaba are easily transferable to universities in Kenya, Tanzania, and other places because they are harmonized in terms of content with the region. They are harmonized in terms of teacher training with the region. They are harmonized in terms of what is taught in the schools. Recently, you have heard about the need for Somalis to learn Swahili and the hoopla that came out of that on the internet. Again, we are reactionaries. Reactionaries. Just tell me something that is about me that I don't want to be talked about, I will react. What's wrong with learning Swahili? We learn English, we learn Italian, we learn Arabic, we learn French. So what? We should learn Amharic, we should learn all other, the more language you know, the better you are, right? But nobody said that we are changing our language of instruction from Somali or whatever it was before to another language. Nobody said that. We just said we are introducing in higher education a subject course called Kiswahili, so that students who graduate from Somali universities, when they come to Kenya, Uganda, they have the language skill in English, Kiswahili, Arabic, and Somali to be able to work, to go to higher education, to converse with others in this region, so that we are part and parcel of the region. We also have large Somali Kenyan community. We also have large Somali East African community. So Somalis are in East Africa, as well as those who travel from Somalia proper to come to Kenya for higher education or for other businesses. So that was all no reason to debate. But as reactionaries, we said, oh, the Somali language has been replaced by a foreign language. No. But let me ask you a question. What is the basic language of instruction in universities in Somalia? Is it Somali? I want you to say it higher. Is it Somali? Do we have instructional materials in Somali? Have we developed anything, even in high school? Do we have instructional materials for high school in Somali? In science, geography, social studies, do you have that? We've developed that earlier for elementary schools, but not for universities. So you need to have the capacity to be able to make Somali a native language, a language of instruction, and have the material support, teacher training, and all the supports that it requires. But again, as reactionaries, Somali language only comes into the discussion when it's mentioned in a negative light. But Somali is spoken in Somalia. It's spoken in Kenya. It's spoken in Ethiopia. It's spoken in Djibouti. Correct? Why not make Somali a language for the Horn of Africa and develop it and put resources to it so that the Somali language is seen as the major language in the Horn of Africa? The Horn of Africa, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Djibouti, where Somali language is strong. But we don't. We don't. Only when Somali language is questioned do we say, oh, we're Somalis and we're... So we don't need reactionaries. We need people who think before criticism makes us come out of the forest. So the point that I'm trying to say is that we have to work with what we have. And Somalia is working hard to be part of the East African region, and we're trying to harmonize our education internally inside the country, as well as within the region, so that Somalis who graduate from high schools, Somalis who graduate from universities, can easily transfer, can easily work, can easily function within the region and beyond the region, and beyond the region. And that's a very, very high goals to achieve. And I really want the Somali people to know that this is a job that has to be accomplished. We are hopeful that the governments that come after this government will continue this path to ensure that Somalis are working with the region. So there are 4 things that we push forth. One is access. Do Somalis have access to quality education? Remember, before the fall of the government in Somalia in 1990, there was only one national university. One university. There were no private universities. There was only one public university. And it was located in Mogadishu. Not outside of Mogadishu, but in Mogadishu. Why? For political reasons. But it was concentrated in Mogadishu, and Lafwale, which is outside of Mogadishu, had a college where I graduated from. And I'm proud of graduating from Somali National University. But then after the fall of the government, Somalis, teachers, educators established their own schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and then universities. And if you ask me today, how many universities are in Somalia? 130. 130 universities are functioning in Somalia. How many of them are public? Somali National University. The same one that was public before the fall of the government is the public university in Somalia. When you say the term public, you're thinking about it's free education provided by the government. There is no free education in Somalia, unfortunately. There is no free education in Somalia. There is no free higher education in Somalia. Let me put it that way. Even Somali National University, you have to pay fees. You have to pay quarterly fees to attend the university, and it compares to other universities. But there is no what we call free public education. When I went to College of Education before the fall of the government, I'm not speaking about my age, but I'm just telling you about a couple of years ago, education was free. From elementary to college, I was paid money to remain in college. I was given monthly salary by the government of Somalia to study in college. And we thought those were bad days. But for those that are not thankful to what they have, it will get worse. That we have to be grateful to what we had before. we should be grateful to what we have today, because Somalis are not showing gratefulness for whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for them. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. Allah says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَإِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِ لَشَدِيدٌ. So we need to be a grateful people. So access affordable education. Somali parents pay for the education of their children. No government, no associations, nothing. It is the parent who pays for her daughter and her son's education. And how many years can they pay? It's a long time to pay. And what's after finishing the school? Well, that's a different story. That's a different story. Quality higher education. Who knows about the quality of these 130 universities? Are they all universities? Are they all top tier university, middle of the road university, a small university, a college? What are they? We don't know them. But we are grateful that they are there. We are grateful that they are providing access to those kids. We are happy that they are functioning, but we will provide them the capacity they need to become a tier 1 university by providing them with the capacity, with the resources, with the guidance, with the trainings that they need. We are not in the business of closing doors of universities. We know how they came about. It came about because there was no access. Our village never had a school, so we have to establish a school. Our village never had a university, so we have to establish the university. We want to encourage that desire to have education and access to education by providing capacity and supports to them, but not by closing their doors just to show them that they are not meeting the quality that we wanted them to meet. Quality takes time, quality takes resources, quality needs support, and we are all providing for that. Employment opportunities. Do our graduates find jobs? Is there a job available for them? So why are we sending kids to school, to colleges, when we don't have jobs for them? And again, do we hire the best student for our banks? Do we hire the best students for the government job? Do we hire the best students for your company? Or do you look for someone else? In abtiga, in edada, in habarirta, sahibka wilkis, hebelo, a C grade student is working in your bank, a D student is working in your government, an F student is sitting in the classroom, where the A student is looking for a job. Do we really value education? Do we really value education? If we value education, then we would have used a merit system that would say the best student from Bur'a University got the best job. The best student from Garawa University got the job. If you don't have an A, you don't get the best job. You have to work hard in order for you to do well. When I went to school, we knew who was the best student who graduated this year from high school. Who was the top in Galkayo? Who was the top in Kismayo? Who was the top in... we knew who was the top of the country. And people used to take pride in saying that I go to college with this guy who was the best student from Galkayo, the best student from... But do we really do that today? So, following the Adan studies, I like to say to my sister here, do we value education? If we value education, we would put our girls in school. We would support them all the way to college. We would hire them in our jobs, right? And we should do the same thing for our boys, because a lot of them are in the streets looking for jobs and unable to work for government. I'm sorry to say this, and unable to work in the private sector because we are not a merit-based system. Enough said. I hope that I encouraged you and I built on the Adan studies because I really like our sense of protecting what we have. But sometimes we need to build upon what we have before someone else tells us what we could do better. Thank you very much. I hope that this conference is successful. I hope that you bring it to Somalia. I hope that this conversation continues. Exchange of ideas is what we need. And I like to highlight, in Somalia, we lack today exchange of ideas programs. The only one that I know is PDRC in Garowe. We need to have a BDRC type in Mogadishu, in Beledweyne, in Bosaso, in Hargeisa, and many places, because if you have an exchange of ideas, then a nation can develop, leadership can come out, and peace and prosperity can establish. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I hope we enjoyed the motivational speaker. ما فهمنا وحو شيء. هاي مثل سعنا. Okay, because I'm getting few responses from you guys. Okay, so Somali am kuso kobaya and chairman kan oo waxbarashada noo taagan wuxuu yiri cilmiga faswayna qiimeeno. Hadii cilmiga meel qiime ay ka lahayn wax tarkiis meel lahaan doonta waa may samo. Marka ugu horeyso ayna cilmiga qiimeeno waxbarashada juhdigeeda aasino. haddana afar siyaabo ugu muhiimsan ee hadda Soomaaliya dawladeeda waxbarashada ay ka shaqeynayso ka helay, and so I will capture those ones rally hada. So marka ugu horeysa maxaa waay inuu access to education. meeqa qof oo jaamiciyaal waa maqashin 130 jaamacada Soomaaliya ku taalo hal xabisana dawladda kale halkaas xabana dawladda ay leedahay waxbarashada weli lacag badan dadka laga qaadanayo oo dawladda lacagta kama bixiso mi garateen sida meeshan camal ma oo dadkii dawladii ay miscunigi 70% of fee waa laga bixinaya inta kale tan iska dhiiwaay hada affordable ma waxbarashadeena qiimihiina way badan tahay waalidkiina ma qasan cuniga iska bixin kara laga yaabo waxbarashada 20 sano inay soo socoto 20 sano waalidkaaseeto 5 cunigu haysta laga yaabo wax cunug dhan qarashkiisa moo heli kara way adagtay suuniga maxaa ku khasbanaanaysa in waxbarashada uu ka dhaco mise inuu sii wadaanin siyaabada labaad ay rabaan in ka shaqeeyaan maxaa way quality education jaamacadaheena qof haduu maanta garow uu ka soo baxo intuu yimaado KMTC ama Kenyatta University shahaadooyinkiisa ma geyn kara oo ma dhihi kara ani jaamici garow ka soo baxay jaamacadaas oo shahaadadiisa ma xaqiijin kara oo mun sii wadan kara faculty kale oo jaamacadaas su'aasha midaas ay tahay soo hadda dad u badan hadda maxaa arkay MKU waa jaamacad oo dad badan oo Soomaaliya ka yimaadeen oo hadda dhigtaan laakiin maxaa la rabaa in jaamiciyaasha iyo shahaadooyinkii la sii xaqiijiyo shahaadooyin wanaagsan ay ka soo baxaan meeshii hal curriculum wanaagsan oo dadka dhan ay wada dhiganayaan ay ku wada faa'iidayaan soo dad ardayda markii yimaadaan jaamacadahan kale xataa internationally meel kasta jaamacad ka tagtid waa in shahaadada la xaqiijin karo jaamacadooyinkan waa in qaybtaas lagu daro mid saddexaad maxaa waaye shaqo abuuris ciyaalkan oo shahaadooyin ka soo baxaan jaamiciyaashan ka soo baxaan shaqo ma helayaan qofkan ugu wanaagsan jidku taagan yahay isagoo shaqo laan ah waxa leeyahay meeshan naadeerkay abtigay shaqadii la siinaya isagoo waxna soo dhiganin mise xifradii haysanin ama juhdigiiba soo bixinin allay because abtiga meesha ku jiro adi qaado booski waxas waa khalad so maxaa loo baahan yahay policy-gi waa in la soo dejiyaa rules-ka so we need employment kasaasa loo hagaajin karaa markii wax kasta loo toosiyo midda ugu dambeysana maxaa waaye standard education waxbarashada la dhiganayo Soomaaliya hadda jaamiciyaasheeda ay hadda qof faculty of medicine haduu Soomaaliya ka soo baxo waa inay isla ahaan kartaa qof kale oo Washington ka soo baxay qof kale Kenya ka soo baxay haddana maxaa la Soomaaliya waxa ku darsmatay the East African community waa inay moogta Kiswahili waa lugha ya taifa oo ku dhex jirta Kenya Tanzania Uganda even Congo Kiswahili laga hadla so Kiswahili waa the almost a leading language in Africa so Africa ahaan waa in anaga isqabsano waa in unity timaado waa in haday Africa many countries ay Kiswahili kaga hadasho dhima haday Soomaaliya ay embrace gareysay in Kiswahili ku hadlaan ni garateen so Kiswahili wax adag ma ida ugu fudud kursi kiti lagu leeyahay and then sahan sahani so it's not something oo adag mi fahanteen so marka insha Allah aan noqono dad ku dhiirigeliyaan dawladooda inay soo saaraan maanta at least hadii jaamiciyaal la noqdo ani maxaa aaminsanahay siyaasadda Soomaaliya inay wax badan iska bedeli doonto marka lagu juhdi bixiyo in wax la barto oo la noqdo dad oo wax soo saar leh wax soo saar markii la lahaada meel la gaari kara laakiin hadii la dhaani waxan bisa haysta waxan bisa ilaalina waxna ma shaqeynayso waxna hana laga dhaxlo si dawlad wanaagsan si ay u dhisano inshallah so and I would like to call the next speaker and so we had one of Mawazo from Mawazo Institute, the Senior Policy and Advocacy Lead, Caroline Tunain. Kindly welcome on stage.
First, I want to sincerely apologize. Sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you think that the day is going to be good, start well and end well. Unfortunately for me, it didn't begin very well. I just got into a taxi, and then my taxi got a mechanical problem. And getting to another taxi, also another challenge, the same challenge. Then another one, I was like, oh my goodness. What is this trying to tell me? But I apologize. But what I like about women, we still show up. That's why I am here. First, I want to congratulate Sarah for having convened this gathering here today. Congratulations, Sarah. And for all the women here and all participants who are here, thank you so much for showing up, just the same way that I've showed up. It's so sad that I'm coming in to speak after the keynote speaker, and I apologize for that. And of course, the representative from RISA, who have been very supportive to support Mawazo Institute to be able to allow us to have such a gathering. And we appreciate a lot RISA for being present, and of course for the support that you continue to give to us. Allow me just very briefly to talk about Mawazo, very briefly, and just say why we do what we do. We do what we do because we believe in women, and we believe that women have the power to be able to change communities. We know that the glass ceiling is dominated by men, and we are trying to actually break this glass ceiling to see how we can be able to get into these opportunities that many times have not been given unto us. So Mawazo Institute began in 2018 by two lovely ladies who are researchers. They were studying in a university in the US. One of the things that they noticed while they were in that university in the US, they realized that there was a gap in terms of what African universities were providing to researchers, and especially to women. So they felt the need for them to come and establish an organization that would support early career researchers in Africa. So in 2018, we enrolled the first 10 women researchers in Kenya. All of them were based in Kenya. Then we realized that there was more need in the region. And in 2023, we enrolled more women, 40 women, in the East African region. So invited Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. Then later on in 2023, we again enrolled 40 more women, and we realized that the need was now becoming more in the region. And we now enrolled 40 women from 16 countries in Africa. But this year, we managed to raise this number to 60 women, that is women researchers from 28 countries, representing 66 universities. And the reason why we do this is because we've seen that there is more need for us to be able to have more women, to have those soft skills and, of course, enhance their quality of research. So that at the end of the day, when you're presenting your research either to policy, to innovation, you are able to have the quality of it out of what you're doing. So we are supporting currently 152 women across 28 countries in 66 universities. And something that we do as an organization, we provide training to these early career researchers. Training that ideally is not provided in higher learning institutions. We ensure that we are giving you the soft skills, from training on budgetary and financial management, to even writing proposals, to even publishing and writing, to make sure that you're engaging with the public and, of course, policymakers, because we believe that whatever these researchers are doing should ideally go back to the people. And you can only do that if you understand how to communicate your research, for example, to make sure that you are also inclusive and ensuring that you're including the communities that you serve. So apart from just the training, we also give these women mentorship programs. And this mentorship program, what we do, we pair you to a mentor that we know is going to help you to be able to carry on in your journey. Because research journey for women actually is a really hectic period for them. And we know that women are primary caregivers. You are the wife, you are the mother, you are the sister, and all that you have to do, and at the same time, you also have to do what? To do your research. So what we do, we ensure that we provide you with the same support that you would require for you to be able to complete your PhD. And then we also provide funding thanks to donors like RISA. where we give you stipend to be able to do your research. And I think, Sarah, you can attest to this, that we've been able to support Sarah and more other women to be able to do their research activities. You're able to go to the field to collect data. You're able to analyze this data. We are able to go to the laboratories, for example, and you're able to analyze this and communicate your research to your beneficiaries. So one of the things that we do very well is to make sure that we're also connecting you to the right platforms, making sure that we are able to help you to convene, for example, such a gathering that Sarah has convened. The policymakers, the academic institutions, all of you coming together so that you can see how best you can be able to address the systemic issues that still continue to hamper our higher learning institutions. So we do this because we believe that women, when you empower a woman, you empower a society. So at this juncture, I just want to congratulate again Sarah for this gathering. And I can attest to this, that marginalized women have not been given a chance to be able to rally their research or even their work to communities. So what we are doing, and I think the reason why we are here, is because we believe that you are actually doing the right thing, Sarah. You are impacting communities. And you know, you've been able to bring all these women into one room. And for us, we are just encouraging you. How can you be able to create a sisterhood amongst yourself? Because there's power in the number. There's power in numbers. So how can you be able to come up together? And one of the things that I'm very happy is to have the chairman of the Somali Higher Education Commission. And we really appreciate you, because we want to have such people who can now help us to now push forward the policy conversations now around what you're doing for sustainability purposes. And we'd also want to see more of this work that you're doing, as he has said in his opening remarks, that we also need to see this happening in Somali, because we believe that whatever you're doing small here in Kenya can also have a very huge impact in Somali. And well done, Sarah, for that, and we appreciate you. And we hope that these conversations from this room here are going to be transitioned into something actionable. We're not just here to sit and speak, but we're just here to speak and see how we can be able to move these conversations forward. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is to bridge that gender gap in research, innovation, and development in general. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And we're looking forward to having these conversations throughout the day. And we really hope that something good comes out of this gathering. We've supported Sarah for the past 3 years. And we appreciate Riza for that. 3 years. This is the 5th annual conference that she's holding. So for us, we've been able to support 3 of them, including this one, because we believe in what she's doing, and we hope that something meaningful comes out of this gathering today. Otherwise, we wish you all the best from the entire team from Mawazo, including the director and all the other team members. We say thank you so much, and we congratulate you, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Subhanallah walhamdulillah. لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم. All protocols observed. When you come from government, it's important to observe protocol. And when you come to the NGO world, the protocol is a bit confusing. So I'll just say all protocol observed. Thank you very much to all of you today for finding time to join us in this important occasion. I am a member of the Gender Hub, despite every other roles that I hold, and I hold dearly, and I cannot usually wait to get this platform to be able to express myself, especially in this particular year, where because of Gender Hub and the continuous creation of opportunities for us and giving us a voice to be heard through this platform, I was awarded by the East African Isuzu Women's Council for having impactful change in improving governance. So thank you, Gender Hub. After speaking after such powerful speakers is a bit unsettling for me. But I'm happy to be here with you today. And I wish to say, whilst the Gender Hub provides us with an opportunity to shine lights on our achievements, it doesn't also shy away from interrogating what our barriers and our challenges are and how we can find answers into this. I do agree a great deal with the previous speakers that despite the fact of the hardship and the challenges we see, particularly in Somalia, where I got a chance to serve as a quality assurance expert in education, we see a lot of challenges and a lot of barriers towards quality education. However, let me tell you, it is important to appreciate Somalia for having built its education system right from a scratch after a 30-year prolonged conflict. Wallahi, it's something very inspirational. And you cannot understand it unless you work there. So I worked as a consultant for 5 years in a EU-funded project that was working on system strengthening in education in Somalia. And what I can attest is I don't think it's easy for any other country to have done what Somalia has done. You know, we pay attention a lot to the challenges and we forget the beautiful and the inspirational achievement the people of Somalia have been able to achieve. You see, coming up with over 180 universities comes from a place of understanding the role of education in progress and in development. So what Somalis did is putting together whatever it is that they could afford to be able to provide what they best knew to their children. They did not look at the limiting finances, they did not look at the limiting consequences, but they built from what they had. And that is why I'm very happy today, Zahra, for you to have invited the chairman of the commission, because I have a little story to tell. You see, working in quality assurance, we are so used to creating standards, pointing out mistakes, creating benchmark using the internationally acceptable standards. What we forget is we first need to start building quality within what we have. Because I attempted doing that, I encouraged the EU to fund a project to be able to set up standards for higher education. And this was done by a team from Kenyatta University. However, it was very difficult to accomplish any much because you don't start by fault finding and you don't set a very high benchmark for people who are struggling without first appreciating what it is that they have and what have they built and what can they work on. So I wish to say the best approach into building quality in an education system is to first understand the dynamics that people are working with and help them entrench quality within what they are doing as you set the standards. There's nothing wrong in setting high benchmarks, but it starts from a place of understanding and reasonability for you to start building on and entrenching quality within what people can afford. And this is one important aspect I think we ignored, and that is why at that time it didn't have an impact. So let's go back to these universities, encourage them, build the best standards within the universities themselves as they grow to reach the standard where they are expected to reach, because there are people who are willing. And I want to tell you, these universities did not emanate from nowhere. It is the effort of the Somali scholars from the diaspora. It is the effort of private entrepreneurs who do not seek profit, a good number of them. Because most of the monies they collect, they use it to run the universities. And therefore, it comes from a place of goodwill. And we need to continuously build that. Even as our researchers, the papers that will be presented today, I'm sure, will be able to interrogate all these things. And in the process, we'll be able to find out answers into how we can build the capacity and develop institutions that we can always be proud of. In very specific terms, I would like us to also look at, because my expertise is basic education. I have been a high school principal in public and private sector in Kenya for about 20 years. And I know a good basic education is what propels a student to higher education, to tertiary learning. If a student does not get very good education at the basic level, it becomes very difficult for them to transit to the higher level. And therefore, emphasis must be laid for our learners to not only learn how to read, but prepare them to become good researchers and scientists by laying emphasis also on their ability in arithmetics at an early stage. And we help them build their capacity. Let me tell you the unique thing that I saw in Somalia. Children are taught like 3 different languages. There's the Somali language that they use as a facilitative language in the basic years to learn, and it is true that most of the textbooks are not in the Somali language. So you can imagine the cognitive skills involved in a child thinking, translating their thinking into what is required to be produced. That's very challenging. The same children are taught Arabic language. Then they are expected at high school to automatically also have learned a bit of English language in preparation to join university, because the language of facilitation at the tertiary level in Somalia is in English. So those are the dynamics our Somali girls are dealing with, and we need to understand those dynamics when we are coming up with interventions. Looking at northeastern Kenya, generally in Kenya we are doing very well when it comes to tertiary education. But when you look at what it is that blocks, or rather is a big impediment from the people who are coming from northeastern region, is the ability, the quality of schools in northeastern region is very poor. Majority of our girls and boys who come from northeastern do not make it to the university because they do not get quality education. They do not have adequate teachers. They do not have resources. Some of them are dealing with issues of poverty. On top of all that, you are aware the cultural barriers among Somalis and all pastoral communities are much more similar. So added on top of that, they are geographically marginalized because they are far to reach areas, and insecurity is also prevalent in these areas, and therefore these girls and boys don't end up getting to the benchmark that is required to enter university. But let me tell you the unique thing. It is, I shy from using the word resilience because no one should be struggling in life. But I would say, even with that, these children are able to come even with a D+, do a certificate course, go and do a diploma course, and find their way to university, and still compete and do very well. So Mawazo, through our institution, the Gender Hub, when we are looking at uniquely how we need to enable our young girls to be able to become the future researchers, the problem solvers, the policy makers, we need to look at all these barriers from a very detailed concept and from an understanding that the dynamics that hinder our girls in all over, in Somalia, in Ethiopia, in the entire Horn, the Somali girls, what hinders them from progress is not only the cultural and the traditional barriers, but also systemic issues that have excluded them from the process of growth and becoming who they intend to be. And I'm very happy I have engaged in these discussions, and as a member of the Gender Hub for the last 3 years, wallahi, it has had a very positive impact on my work, and I look differently at things because I get to listen to other women. So there's power in coming together here and listening to each other and learning from each other. Because we even live with the attitude that we want to solve those problems, and people are looking up to us. If it doesn't have any much impact, then the biggest impact would be, like, I have no one else to look at apart from myself to transform the situation and to make it work for everybody. In yaraan rabaa inaan ku soo koobo wixii aan sheegay. Waxaan aad iyo aad horta idinkugu mahadcelinayaa isu imaashaheenan gabdhaheena noo qalqaaliyeen fadhigii iyo anigoo ka mid ah gabdhaha la shaqeeya Zahra. Waxaan aad iyo aad ugu farxay fadhiyadan qiimaha ay leeyihiin. Sababta aan u sheegay siday aniga faa'iido igu keentay noloshayda waxaan rabaa inaan idinku dhiirigeliyo inaadan ka xishoonin isu soo baxa iyo isu imaashaha fadhiyadan inaad ka soo qayb gashaan. Maxaa yeelay aniga howsheedu waxa soo bandhigtay Gender Hub. Qofkii aan ahaa iyo wixii aan soo qabtay anagu waxaan dhahnaa dadka Isfaaniya maxaa la dhihi jiray qofka Isfaaniya waa riis nuugtay soo lama dhaha. Waa ka xishoonaa wixii aan qaban inaan sheegna. Laakiin meelahan markaan imaano Zahra ay soo qorto qofkaan ahaa dadka interest bay noo yeelanayaan maxaad qabatay xageed ka shaqayn jirtay maxaa impact aad qabatay marka waxaan helay maxaa la dhihi jiray award ama what do you call award in Somali abaalmarin thank you waxaan helay East Africa Institute ka Isuzu Women's Council ayaa abaalmarin waxay ii siiyeen shaqadii aan qabtay oo ay soo bandhigtay Gender Hub. Marka faa'iidooyinka aan ka helayna isu imaashaheena wada tashiga waxa ka mid ah xataa in waxyaabaha aan qabanay ay soo bandhigayso Gender Hub oo anaga ay waxtar noo noqonaysa. Markii abaalmarin qabsideeda oo waa mahadsantiin qabsideeda oo kale abaalmarin markii la sii wax weyn ma noo tarayso niyadayna oo dhisaysa waa run laakiin gabdhaha yaryar oo macallimiinta oo halkan fadhiyo Saacadiye ay ka mid tahay iskoolkii aniga inta soo sano 26 sano macallinka ay maanta macallimad ka tahay. Markay aragto anoo wax la igu abaalmarinayo hawshan iskuulka ka hay iyo dawladda aan ka hay waxay dhiirigelin u helaysaa iidan inay dadaasho Soomaha. Marka waxyaabaha sababaysa inaan soo imaano waxa kale oo aydan aan ka hadlay Soomaaliya maadaama aan mar walba fiirina markii cilmi baaris la sameeyay caqabadaha iyo waxyaabaha culayska ayaan xoog saarnaa anagoo raadinayna inaan xal ka keenno. Laakiin hase yeeshee waa inaan fahanaa waxyaabaha noo hirgalay oo dadkeena khayrka badan ay qabteen oo mar walba aan ku mahadcelinaa oo noqonaa inaan tayadii la soo dhisnaa school jaamacadihii ay soo dhiseen dad baa xoolahooda jaamacadaha ku dhisay lacag badan kama helaan run ahaantii waxay macallimiintii bay mushaar ka siiyaan researchadii bay ku soo daabacaan ardaydii bay ku garab qabtaan qarashka badi ayagu ku noqdaa laakiin dad ayaa maalgeliyay oo xoolahooda iyo dhaqaalahooda jaamacadaas ku furay dadna waa mutacalimiin oo dadkii dibadda noo joogay oo dhaqaalaha soo diray waa Soomaaliya ku soo diray oo establish gareeyeen jaamacadahaas. Marka haddii aan rabno tayada inaan dhisno tayada ma ahina keli inaan dhowrno assurance-ka wuxuu imaanayaa hadhowdii markay tayada soo dhisanto laakiin inaan fiirino halkii aan ka keeni lahayn inaan tayada ku dhex dhisno jaamacadda ayadoo waqti xaaladeeda aysan fiicneen ayaa waxaan awoodnaa inaan garab qabano macallimiintii iyo qoladii maamuleysay sidee tayada jaamacadda u dhisi karaan internally intaanan wali ceebahooda aanan soo saarin waa adagtahay qofka markaad ceebihiisa aad soo saartid inaad wax la qabatid hadhow laakiin waxa ku sahlan adigii inaad hooshi la gashid oo tustid haddii aad rabtaan heer wanaagsan inaad jaamacadda gaarsiisaan waxyaabaha la idinkaga baahan waa intaas adoon qaladkii iyo waxaanan aad u baahinin oo intii yareed ay isku soo aruuriyeen ka kala daadinin so inaad la shaqeyno waxa ay hayaan ku mahadcelina mar walba qiimo u yeelna dadkeena mar walba aan ku focus gareyno waxyaabaha fiican ee ay hayaan sifa aan guul ugu helna meelaha yaryar ee madmadowga ka jira ama aysan standardkii la soo gaarin intaas ayaa waxay iga ahayd inaan ugu faa'iideey walaalahay cilmi baarista ku jira iyo dadka aad u jecel inay dhex galaan oo ogaadaan hawsha jaamacadaha iyo sidii wax loogu bedeli lahaa inay u arkaan hirgelinta tayada inay ka horeyso tayadhowr hirgelinta tayada inaad soo hirgelino jaamacadihii iskoolaadkii aan ka soo hirgelino markaa kadib aan marka dhowri karnoon ilaalin karna markaan wixii soo ilaa qofka ma kula xisaabtami kartid waxaadan marka hore siinin qofka hadduu lacagtiisii dhaqaalihiis wax ku samaystay haddana waa adagtaa inaad tidhaahdid war waxba kama jirtade meesha albaabka loo soo xira waxaa easy ah inaad tidhaahdid halkan waad ku saxsan tahay halkaanna waxbaad ka qaban kartaa inta samee yaa hataa aan la samayn inaan dhaqaale xataa u raadino oo maaragtay aan soo dhisno institutionadii waxaa kaleetoon ka hadlay arday markuu rabo inuu heer jaamacadeed gaaro uu hadhow muhandis noqdo ama uu noqdo qaf cilmi baaris samaynaya waa in waxbarashadii hoose ay soo hagaagtaa ardayga si wax loo aqriyay hadduusan garanaynin xisaabiyaadkana garanaynin waa ku adag tahay in waxbarashadiisa uu sii wato ilaa heer jaamacadeed badanaa waxyaabaha ay ardayda ugu baxaan iskoolaadka ayagoo weli yar oon xeer sare ku gaarin waxaa waaye markay wax akhrintu dhibto ama xisaabta ay dhibto ma helaan niyad fiican ay kusii wataan marka waxyaabaha ka dhalanayana waxaa ka mid a keenayo macallimiinta tayadooda macallimiinta hala garab qabto in ayagana tayadooda lasoo dhisa oo maaragtay hadda alxamdulilah ilaa iyo ugu yaraan 2 sano lasoo dhaafi 3 sano lasoo dhaafi macallimiina la shaqo gelinaya Soomaaliya wallahi aniga dadkii waxaan ahay kamid ahaa tababarkooda ma malaysan kartid dhalinyaradaas qiimaha ay leeyihiin iyo sida ay ugu diyaarsan yihiin inay wax bartaan manhajka la baraayo waxaa ka sii badan niyadda ay leeyihiin iyo isbedelka ay rabaan inay waxbarashada ka keenaan ayaga naftooda niyadooda siday u dhisan tahay iyo sida creative u yihiin waxyaabaha aad iyo aad aniga ii cajabiyay waxay ahayd xiisaha badan ay ardayda Soomaaliyeed ama dhalinyarada Soomaaliyeed ay u leeyihiin waxbarashada waa wax dadkeena qaas u ah marka dadkeena waxaana la baray inaan mar walba aan isdhaliilna laakiin waxaa fiican meelaha aan ku fiicanahayna aad iyo aad inaan u sheegno dad aad u aqli badan waayo dadkeena wax yar maanta markaad u bilowdo berito waxaad imaanaysaa ayagoo 10 times meesha adiga aad ogeed ka fiican gaareen wallahi ilaa iyo 5 sano ayaan ku dhex jiray barnaamijka waxbarashada wiilashii iyo gabdhihii aan macallimiin ahaan wax u soo baray oo tayada aan wax ka baray waxay gaareen heer ayagu ay noqdaan local consultants in quality assurance marka insha Allah khayr baan idin rajaynayaa intaas baan ka hadlay soo dhawaada marka meeshana ha noo noqoto meel aan ku soo cararno oo isku imaano wax isku sheegno isku canaanana markaas caraanadayna kamarada iyo waxaan naga damiyay gooni aan soo canaanan laakiin waxa wanaagsan oo quruxda badan markaan dhulkeena dadkeena ka sheegayn waxaan jecelnahay in la baahiyo sida ay saharana bartay marka soo dhawaada thank you very much
waa timida isliika baaburtiin waan aniga tankeyga anigoo abwaanada faadima sugan بسيكا كبلاويدو برنامجكا ورعا قرآنك يوالكا أفكام بالله إنربا بسينا الله بلا إياه مؤبرناك عشاري هالك أبغورا أكجو غاهبا أيغاكي